I'm Dee. I've been car camping in my SUV Sangria for the last 2-ish years. And today, I think I just want to have a chat with y'all. I've been contemplating transitioning my vehicle. But I think before we get into that, I'm going to get in the back where it's nice and comfy. Gotta take off my shoes first. It's a shoe-free zone up in here. Okay, so this is how I climb in the back. And these days I have to be really careful because I can't put pressure on my knee. But, boom. That's how I climb to the back. Takes a few seconds, boom, easy peasy. See, not so bad at all. It's pretty easy to climb back there. So I didn't put any of my side window covers up. I just have the back up. The back window covers right here. And then these two little ones in the way back. And I'm all bundled up because it is super cold. It's about 38 degrees right now. And the reason I didn't put any of my window covers up is because I'm in a pretty private location, number one. But number two, on the way here, there were some snow flurries. So I'm keeping an eye out on the weather. I want to see the snow. And I'm hoping it does so we can capture it on this video. But if it starts doing more than just flurrying, I'll turn you guys around so you can see that. Put on some more lights in here too. Yay, more lights. Okay. Christmas lights. All right, so here's what I want to talk to y'all about. I'm kind of contemplating or pondering my choice of vehicles. So I never thought I'd say this out loud. I used to be one of those people who's like, I don't want a minivan. No, never be me. I don't want a minivan. I used to be one of those people. But ever since I started car camping, I'm like, I kind of want a minivan. And there are 3 reasons why I really want to kind of transition into a minivan. The first one is the obvious one, and it's just for more space. So right now, because I use my car, of course, as a regular, everyday, passenger car, taking my kids back and forth to college, sometimes to work, depending on the situation. Taking my youngest son to school back and forth and things like that. And just to his sports practices throughout the week or whatever, when I'm not car camping on the weekends. It's a constant, okay, put everything back here in the trunk, put the seats back up. And then when I'm ready to car camp, put the seats back down, lay my mat and everything down. And it's not really a big hassle because the way that my setup is, in like less than 5 minutes, I can transition everything back to like a regular passenger car or a camper, depending on what I'm using it for that particular day. But my thing is, if I had a minivan that had completely stowable seats, usually it's just me, my husband, and my son during the weekdays or whatever. So that's just 3 of us. So I'm thinking, if I stow the third row, if I were to get a minivan, I could stow the third row seats completely down, stow and go, fold them away. I could keep one seat up for my son, and then the other seat, I can stow that completely flat. So here's my thinking. I could keep a bed up at all times. So maybe I would get like a camping cot, because then I could use that storage area underneath the camping cot to put the things that I regularly keep in my car, like my kitchen area, things like that. And then during the weekends where I car camp, then all I would have to do is move my kitchen stuff back out. But then I'm thinking I would probably have so much space, I probably would not need to store my kitchen stuff underneath there, underneath a cot bed. So I'm really thinking, and then also my husband is very, very tall. So he's around 6'5". He can't car camp in here with me and my son because there's just not enough space. So if I had a minivan, he and I could both, sleep in the back. A minivan would be long enough to fit, 6'5" person. As long as I push up the front passenger seat all the way, I feel like that would be doable. And then I could make like a loft bed kind of thing over our feet, like in the back for our son. And I'm like, that would be cool because then all three of us could go car camping. And if it's times where he's not along, then, and it's just like me and my son and one of my girls, we could do the same type of option. So I'm really considering it. And another reason I'm considering it is because, as y'all know, I have a Hyundai Santa Fe. And because of this, I guess, trend of people wanting to steal Hyundais and Kias, and we have two Hyundais, our insurance is really going up. And if this continues where the insurance just constantly is rising every 6 months, I honestly don't think I can keep this Santa Fe because it's getting expensive. And it's really a shame because I love my Santa Fe. We both love our two Hyundais. We've been Hyundai owners for many, many years now. We've had Sonatas, we've had Santa Fe's, we've had Tucsons. My very first brand new car ever was a little Hyundai Accent. I mean, this was back when, it was a tape player and you crank up your windows, there was no electric windows. So I'm really a fan of Hyundais. And that very first Hyundai Accent that I had, I didn't know much about cars during that time. And I drove from Virginia to Colorado, Colorado to Virginia, Virginia to South Carolina, South Carolina back to Colorado. And I had it about a year. And somebody asked me, when's the last time you got the oil changed in that thing? And I'm like, oil change? What's that? So I put all those miles on that little Hyundai Accent. And within the first year, I never changed its oil. So we're talking thousands and thousands of miles with no oil change. And that thing lasted, I had that little Hyundai Accent around 10 years. And the only reason that I got rid of it was because, I had my two girls. They were growing, they were getting bigger. So little two-door Hyundai Accent was just no longer, a good vehicle for us to have. And the only repair I ever had to do on that, it was a stick shift. And it had over 100,000 miles on it. And I had to get the clutch replaced. And that was the only thing outside of just regular maintenance that I ever had to do on that thing. Anyway, I'm sidetracking. But yeah, so the insurance just keeps going up. So there's really three main reasons why I'm thinking this way. One, because I could use that extra space. Two, the insurance cost, it just keeps going up. It just keeps rising. And three, with that extra space, then I could fit more of my family members when they went to car camp. And I could also have extra storage area for when I go on those longer trips and I do need to bring extra things. So I've kind of in my head, I'm like, okay, the pros of having an SUV. So the pros of staying with Sangria. I have a higher ground clearance right now in Sangria in my SUV than I would if I were to get a minivan. If I wanted that ground clearance that I have right now, I would probably have to purchase a lift kit, which, I don't know if I want to do all that. And then the second thing, if I keep Sangria, the second pro that I can think of is she is really good on gas. So when I'm on the highway, as long as I'm driving maybe no more than 65, even sometimes 70 miles per hour, she can get 40 miles per gallon. Which, for SUV, for me, I don't know how common that is, but she's not a hybrid, it's all gas. So 40 miles per gallon on the highway, as long as I'm driving, no more than probably 70 miles per hour. To me, that's really good. I don't know if I could get that same gas mileage in a minivan because I would have to get a used minivan for it to be in my price range because getting a new minivan these days, no, it's way too much. I was pricing some of them and the car payment would be like $800. And I'm not, and I can't do $800 a month for a minivan. So it would have to be a used minivan. And the only qualm I have with that is You know, right now my daughter still has about a year and a half left in college, and the college is 12 hours away. And, you know, I do a lot of driving, and I don't want to buy a used minivan in my price range that has, you know, high mileage and something that I'm going to have to get repairs on all the time. So those are some pros and cons right off the bat. The cons of having an SUV or keeping Sangria: there's not a lot of headroom in the back. So right now you can see I have on my hat. So I have like maybe a half an inch or an inch of headroom after, and I'm kind of like hunching down. I'm not sitting straight up. So I can't really sit straight up. I have to hunch. Now that does, in the summertime, it's not such of a big problem because I don't have an extra sleeping bag underneath me or extra blankets that take up extra, you know, headroom space. And then my under the bed storage area is really hard to access. So if I need to access that for anything, I basically have to pull out my whole setup to be able to get under this part where I'm sitting right here to access that extra storage. So for that reason, I don't keep much in there. I keep a small, I think it's like a 4-person tent in there. I do keep my portable toilet that I never use. I keep it in there. I keep extra like cooking pots and pans and things like that. And then just like an emergency vehicle kit and things like that. Because I can't really reach that stuff right now when I have my car camper set up. And that's a shame because there is a lot of extra space underneath there. So there's not a lot of wiggle room. My husband can't car camp with us because he's 6'5". He's not going to fit in here unless I do some kind of build out in here. And even then, I think it would just be too tight for him. And we probably, like the 3 of us still couldn't camp in here. So it sleeps 2 people max. I think that's probably the most I'll ever get out of it. And then for me, the pros of getting a minivan or transitioning into the minivan: obviously more space, more headroom. I could sleep probably 3 people in here, 4 people max, not in here, in a minivan. If I were to get a minivan, I could probably fit up to 4 people in there because I could take advantage of all that headroom space and do like a loft or bunk bed type of situation. And then when I'm solo, which is more often than not, I would have a lot more storage. Like I said, when I go on those longer trips, I have a lot more storage. You know, I have more space to move around. I could probably bring like a lawn chair in the minivan and set it up when I just want to sit without necessarily sitting on a bed or laying on a bed. And of course, the ability to stow the seats and really only have 3 seats up on a regular basis. And that's usually what I have, is just 3 seats, or, you know, 3 people in the car anyway. The cons of having a minivan, I think I already mentioned this, the lower ground clearance. So I do like to go up on those state forest roads and things like that. And so I am concerned that there are some areas that, you know, the back of the car would hit, or the muffler would hit if I were to get a minivan. So that's one concern. That's one concern that I do have. I'm not sure if the gas mileage would be as good. So I've done some research and I'm not finding any that would probably do 40 miles per gallon of gas on the highway. Now, as advertised, the Hyundai Santa Fe doesn't say that it would reach 40 miles per gallon on the highway either. So I guess, hey, reach out to me if you have a minivan. Let me know, you know, if you're driving 65, 70 miles per hour on the highway, what is your gas consumption? What is your gas consumption, your miles per gallon? Let me know if you feel like it. I'd appreciate it. Thank you. So here's another option though, outside of a minivan. If I do decide to stay with Sangria, or maybe even a different SUV that's not a Hyundai, because like I said, if this insurance keeps going up every 6 months like this, I can't do it. I refuse to do it. It's just a waste. I love my Hyundai Santa Fe. Like, I love this vehicle. It gets great mileage, gas mileage, knock on wood. I never have a problem with it. And it would make me sad to get rid of her if it was only because of how the insurance costs keep rising, because people keep stealing Hyundais and Kias. Stop it. Another option I was considering is, if I keep Sangria, or even if I decide to get a minivan, but during the time between that, because it's not something that I could do like right now or even within the next couple months. This would be like, I have to plan it out, make sure everything is in line for me to do the switch. I'm thinking I could build in Sangria to make it more car camper friendly, so I can access the bottom storage and kind of building up. So using this space over here above the wheel well, like building up, maybe putting a shelf or counter on there, because right now where I have my kitchen set up, I literally have to put it on this side in front of the wheel well. If you look at some of my other videos, you'll see that. And I can put my sink back behind my kitchen counter, my kitchen cabinet. And my sink sits above the wheel well. But when I need to use it, I have to pull it out. So I'm using, there's probably like 5 to 6 inches of width that I'm losing on each side of the car. And if I were to build up around that, then I'm thinking I could use one side as like a cooktop surface if I do that. And then on the other side, I can maybe screw down my existing kitchen cabinet, because I really love this thing. Maybe screw that down the other side on top, because again, that's space that I just can't use right now. And if I were to build up, even when we're sleeping, I can't use that space anyway. So if I were to build up, it would allow us to use that full width in between the wheel wells without having to have my kitchen counter in front of the wheel well. But yeah, so that's my thoughts for today. I didn't really have much to film today. It's kind of a laid back day for me. But I did want to talk about this with y'all, and maybe, I don't know, if you've transitioned from an SUV to a minivan, or if you've been car camping in a minivan, you made the switch, whatever, let me know what your feedback is, especially on that gas mileage in the minivans. If you have a minivan or had one at one point, how was your gas mileage? Because right now I'm looking at the Dodge Grand Caravan. That's more in my price range that I'm willing to pay right now. And also I like those seats stow. They're the stow and go seats. I would really like a Honda Odyssey with not so high miles, but it's that price tag, man. But I also know that Hondas, they're really good cars and they last a long time. So I don't know. We'll see. I've been thinking about this. It's been on my mind for months, and I'm like, you know what? Let me talk to them, and let me talk to you guys about it. My friends over here on YouTube. Let's have a conversation about it and get your thoughts. That's it for today's video. Reminder, the Vlogmas gift giveaway is happening December 20th, 2023, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I believe that is tomorrow, December 20th, 2023, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to announce the 3 winners. Yay! So be sure to tune in to see if you are one of the 3 awesome lucky winners. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great night, and I will see you tomorrow to announce the winners.